90.3 WHPC now presents Law You Should Know. The law affects every aspect of our lives, our home, our jobs, and our recreational activities. Now, learn about the law and how to protect yourself against the loss of your liberty or property, and learn how to stand up for your rights and seek compensation when you have been wronged. Your host for Law You Should Know is attorney Kenneth J. Landau, a past dean of the Nassau Academy of Law, and frequently lectures to lawyers on ethics and avoiding problems with clients, and to the public on how to choose and use lawyers. This is Law You Should Know on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome to Law You Should Know. My special guest today is attorney Bill Horan. He's a retired attorney, and he's also the host of Secrets of Success, one of the longest-running shows right here on WHPC. And every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, he interviews authors of the best self-help and motivational books. And in 30 minutes, he brings out the best of their ideas and conveys it to the listeners. Lawyers, business people, students, anyone can learn a lot from listening to his show right here on 90.3 WHPC and over the internet at nccradio.org. And all his shows are available as podcasts on that website. Bill, welcome back to Law You Should Know.
Thank you, Ken. Always a lot of fun to be with you on your show.
Now, you've interviewed many business leaders and gurus about secrets of success. And how can those secrets of success and some of the things you've learned over the years help lawyers, especially as they're dealing with COVID issues?
Obviously, the market is very tough today because of the COVID, and even in normal times, lawyers work very hard. But I find most of them, and I'm talking about friends, people like yourself that I know, people in the profession, very often they're misdirecting a lot of their efforts. It's a lot of hard work, but perhaps in the wrong direction, if you want to say that. And of course, that's not going to get you to your destination. So what I hope is that we can transfer some of the ideas from the business people to the law office. And most lawyers on Long Island are independent entrepreneurs. It's a 1, 2, 5-person firm, maybe 6 or 7, but that's most of our law firms. It's a small business like a paint store or an architectural firm, a doctor's office.
So what are they doing that's going in the wrong direction, Bill?
They're not really using business principles. I think lawyers wait for things to happen. They're reactive rather than proactive. They feel they're being proactive if they join a networking group. But that's not really enough. There's more things they could be doing. They could be setting, as we'll talk about as we go through the show, a business strategy for themselves, how to use their time more productively, and without not accounting for every minute of the day or being under pressure that way, but just to enjoy life more. And they're on beautiful Long Island here where we have the beaches, we have golf courses, we have, a beautiful environment where they could be enjoying it more in the nicer weather and getting out and not putting themselves under such pressure.
So lawyers, perhaps by their nature, tend to be more focused on work and less on customer service and less on relaxation. And you think that helps wear them out and be more irritable?
I'd be more irritable. Yes, I think so. One of the big things today, Ken, that is coming up with people on my show, know thyself. And you might say, well, what does that mean? How does that apply to lawyers? But what do you really look for in life? What is it that you like about your practice, about practicing law? Is it going to court? Is it research? Is it writing a document? Is it drawing up a document? Is it the negotiation back and forth, applying to a jury your legal skills and to help your client? If we can take some time to focus this, a lot of us get slotted based on the first job we had. If our first job is in real estate, we become a real estate attorney. If our first job is in trust and estates or negligence, that's what we're doing. So I think we have to be a little more proactive and find the direction that dovetails with our likes and dislikes.
So just to reiterate, it's very important for lawyers and probably other business people out there and everyone to take control of their day, to take control of the area of their work, to focus on what they enjoy and put some relaxation into their schedule, and they'll be better people and happier people.
And they'll get, believe it or not, they'll get a lot more done and have a lot more free time.
And this is a constant process of evaluation to see whether the lawyer's needs are being met and they're focusing on what they enjoy the most.
I think it should be
a periodic process.
I think it should be, but I think at first someone listening to this show is going to say, wait, I've never done that. And if you ask them, what do you enjoy most about your practice? I really love going to court. Well, how often do you go to court? Oh, about twice a month. Well, wouldn't you like to go more often? There's a lot of attorneys would love to have somebody going to court for them. So you could team up with an attorney who loves to do the in-office work, or someone who might like appellate work and likes to write, someone who likes research, someone who's just client and client development oriented. They go out and get the clients. They work for them. They'll have lunch with them. But you love to go to court. You love to argue cases. Well, that's what you want to do more of. And if that's what you truly enjoy, that's where you're going to maximize your abilities.
And it can be a gradual process. So you can, just try to put more of what you enjoy in your day. Take responsibility. Try to segue your practice and what you do in your practice to that end.
Exactly. You can find that life is going to be a lot better because it's just naturally doing what you like better. Whether if you're a fisherman, you enjoy fishing. You don't want to play golf. You don't want to play tennis. You don't want to play some cards. You love fishing. Do what you like best. You're going to do it better. You're going to draw in more clients, and you don't have to worry about generating business.
And it's important to do something. You should have other outlets besides the law. It also could be good for networking and relaxation.
Absolutely. And if you're finding you're putting in a 12, 15-hour day, I think those are the people who really have to evaluate and say, wait, what am I doing? Am I making a commensurate income with a 12, 15-hour day? If you're making what a CEO makes, etc., well, that's fine. You're trading off high income for a lot of work. But if you don't feel you're making the right amount of money, and I think most lawyers feel they're not, then it's a time to do this evaluation. It's relatively simple. Any lawyer can do it. By the end of this show, they can do it themselves with a pencil and paper.
And it's not just about money. It's about the balance of legal work. It's about the balance in your day, about taking time for other things that you enjoy, because those could be priceless.
You hit it right on the head. The nice part of being a lawyer on Long Island, if you're in a 2 or 3 person firm, if your son has a play or your daughter has a soccer game or a lacrosse game you want to get out to, this gives you the opportunity to do it. If you just want to get home and spend some time because it's your son's 5th birthday or grandpa's anniversary, you have some opportunities to do this on your own, more so than the big firm where things are so stacked you have to be there. And unfortunately, lawyers have to give up a lot of their private lives. That's the great benefit of being part of a small firm on Long Island.
And Bill, on your show, you talk about motivation and inspirational sayings. What are the best ones for lawyers, and how can lawyers find more of them and perhaps develop their own?
When I see that, I think of the Stu Leonard saying, and most of us know that supermarket. We go in there and we see the customer is always right. Rule number 1. Rule number 2. Reread rule number 1. In other words, everything is about the customer. Well, as the customer, I feel great when I see that because I know that store cares about me. They're looking out for my well-being. They want me happy because if I'm happy, I'm going to buy more. And it's a win-win for them and for me. One of my favorites was years ago, and it did change my life. I saw a sign on a wall that said, "Life is a journey, not a destination." And I thought I was always going for a goal in a particular office, whether it was an income or a certain ranking or a position. But our life is always changing, and we certainly know it this year, as you mentioned about the pandemic. All of us have had to change what we do. I talked to a lawyer who tells me she now does closings at picnic benches, in her car, in the backyard, in the parking lot, wherever she has to do them. And I think everybody has made changes more or less commensurate with that. The one saying I particularly like, and I think applies to anybody listening to this show, is that tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life. If you hear something you like here today, jot it down, put it in practice tomorrow. Let's see if it changes your life for the better or to increase your income or just bring more happiness to your practice.
And wherever you are in life, whether you're a student, young lawyer, old lawyer, young business person, old business person, that's true for everyone.
Exactly.
Yesterday, today is not your destiny. By adopting some of the things that you've mentioned and people can hear about others on your show, you can change your path. You can change your mix of activities. You can make your life more enjoyable one day at a time. I just want to go back to what you talked about with Stu Leonard's. At a store like that, they're providing customer service. They want to make it easier and more fun for people to shop. Do you think lawyers should make using a lawyer user-friendly, be flexible about the services, offer free consultations to give them better service, be flexible in accommodating them in terms of location or whatever setting works for them?
Maybe it's because of doing the Secrets of Success for 33 years and I listen to my guests and the authors, but I think lawyers as a whole are very poor for that. And I'll ask you, and I bet if you think of lawyers, how many times have you gotten a letter or do you even know of a lawyer who, after they complete a case or a closing or a will or an estate, send out a letter to their client and say, were you satisfied with my services? If not, how can I handle them better? It might be just that they were not available for phone calls. Maybe they were never available. Maybe they didn't answer letters or complaints, etc. It's probably something minor. Maybe a client sat in the office 2 hours waiting for them. But it makes you feel that that lawyer cares about you and they want to make their practice better. Even though I mention this to lawyers as part of my practice and as part of the Secrets of Success, I've never seen a lawyer doing this, and certainly not on a regular basis. That would be something very easy that they could do for customer service or just reaching out to the customer.
Well, and even beyond that, just setting up customer service practices for themselves, making sure their staff return phone calls that give easy to understand explanations, make sure the client's needs are being met. And maybe just asking him at the end, were you happy with our services? If so, tell others. If not, tell us so that they can cure any problems.
Well, of course,
you want your level of service to exceed their expectations.
Exactly. And you're a business person, and I know you and I have had conversations about this, how you can do things, what you can do. There's so many simple ways they could reach out to clients. Lawyers don't realize that the average person doesn't know one lawyer from another. They don't know if you're a negligence attorney, an estate attorney, a criminal attorney. Then when they're looking for someone, they don't know who to go to. If and some of these things are so simple. An occasional newsletter that you can send out by email, just letting them know, here's something new in our practice. We just won this criminal case. Or we're now expanding into litigation. We're handling elder law. Bring the client into it. Get your name in front of them a little bit. It's almost trite the amount of money you would spend for this because it's an email going out. Or if it's an older clientele, you can use regular mail. But it keeps you in their mind. And when they need a lawyer, they're going to call you first.
And also because people forget about you or forget about how to reach you or forget your name, but they remember they had a good experience with you. So you want to periodically keep in touch with them, let you know how you can be of help to them, remind them of how to reach you. And this way, if they know someone else who needs a will or a real estate closing or a divorce, and they liked you, they can easily refer that person to you.
Many lawyers have been working all through the pandemic, maybe with a few days off here or there or at the beginning. And I called a friend. I said, are you still working? She said, oh, sure. She's still working. She said, I just do more of my work from home now, or I divide it up. And, she's changed, just like businesses, curbside, so to speak, the way she does things, less contact. But she's still actively working. I didn't know that. It would have been a good idea to send it out to say, we're still open.
So you want to keep in touch with your clients and remind them of how you can be of help to them or their friends or relatives.
Exactly.
Now, Bill, you also did a show. I just want to remind our listeners we're talking with Bill Horan. He's a retired lawyer, but he's also the host of Secrets of Success, a long-running show right here on WHPC. You can hear it every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on 90.3 FM or at nccradio.org. There are also podcasts of many excellent shows, and he's interviewed all the leading leading authors and gurus out there, and you can find their podcast at nccradio.org. You mentioned you once did a show called Running from the Law. What was that about, and do many lawyers want to run from the law?
Well, that was the funny thing. When I got that book, an author sent it to me, I thought it was about criminals running from the law, how they avoided, and then they had to go to court and had a criminal case. It was actually a very well-named book because what it was about was lawyers who actually hated practicing law. And that's another avenue that I mentioned to lawyers. Just because you have a law degree, you don't have to be the typical lawyer the way we think of them. You can open up a lot of different businesses. You can go into a lot of areas. Obviously, lawyers are very intelligent people. They have at least 7 years of postgraduate schooling. They're out there working. They're experienced. They know the real world. The lawyers on that show, it was funny. They had one of them had a very interesting comment. She said, my worst day at my new job is still better than my best day as a lawyer. So she actually hated law. And I think that's a good question for lawyers to ask themselves. Do you enjoy what you're doing? If not, it might be time to start to look for a few changes, maybe the areas you practice in, and maybe even going into a business venture or something else rather than practicing law.
And maybe do some volunteer work to help have a better mix of things you like and do not like. And you never know what that might lead to.
Sometimes that tells us a lot about ourselves. And I think a lot of time we figure, volunteer, I'm not going to make any money. How's that going to help my legal practice? Well, it doesn't have to. It tells you things about yourself. And if you enjoy that, you might just enjoy helping people. And that might be a sidelight of your legal practice, a couple hours a week of doing pro bono work or doing work that makes you feel good because you're helping a disadvantaged group that needs some extra assistance.
And it also might expand your network. It might provide friendships. It might help in many different ways.
I'm sure it would generate business, definitely.
And let's turn to timesheets. Are they important to a lawyer, and how should a lawyer use that information on the timesheets?
Kenny, if someone doesn't understand, a timesheet is basically keeping what you do, a record each day of how your time is spent. I think it's very important. I'm an old math teacher, as you know. I started my career that way. I went to law school at night. And what a timesheet is, you put down. So when you walk in the morning, you say hello, you have your coffee. And then if you start at 9:15, did you make a phone call? If so, if I talk to you about a particular case, 15 minutes conversation with Ken Landau regarding the Jones case. And you do that all day long. How did you spend your time? At the end of the day, if it's computerized, the computer will do it. But you don't have to. If you're a small law office, you can do this yourself. Where was your time spent? Now, we can't bill for all our time. Some things are on a fixed fee basis. But if you take a look at your time, you'll be shocked. If you can get in 5 hours of what would be considered billable, real legal work, okay? And that means that you're taking some time out. That's lunchtime. Somebody will walk in your office asking you a question, and you'll give them some time. You may have to fix the copy machine, etc. If you can get 5 to 6 hours of real legal time in during a day, you're busy. You're spending active time, whether it's research, on the phone, negotiating a contract, talking to a client, and you'll find out where your time is spent. That's how you're making your money. Is your practice mainly estates? Is it real estate? Is it negligence?
And also, if you're charging a flat fee for, say, real estate deals or for a closing, you'll find out whether you're charging too much or little for your services.
That's perfectly correct. And something that an attorney, I had talked to her just about this a couple of years ago. And recently I said to her, I have a case for you and something you handle. She said, I don't handle those cases anymore. I realized they were too small. I was spending too much time on them and I wasn't getting enough back. It really wasn't worth it. I was probably putting in 5, 6, 7 hours and billing for 2 or 3 hours. So I cut that out of my practice. And a lot of time people just feel a lot better because now they're in control. That's a big thing among lawyers and among all of us, that you have your own practice. You're in control. Why take cases either that you don't like, you don't want to get involved in, or take an inordinate amount of time?
And what are the things that other things that lawyers can do to market their practice?
There's so many ways, and again, this is something that I think a lot of lawyers overlook, and so many of them are either inexpensive or of no expense to the lawyer. One of the easiest that I talk to lawyers about, are you part of, Constant Reminders, or what's that website?
Constant Contact.
Constant Contact, I'm sorry. A lawyer can get on there, and just to let your client know, you don't have to bother them, but maybe 2-3 times a year, where is your office? What are your hours? Are you open Saturdays? Your client may not need you till the fall, 6, 7, 8 months away, but now they remember, oh yes, you do come in Saturdays. You could meet with me. We could go over that case on a Saturday morning. Maybe they work in the city. An occasional newsletter, even if it's just once a year. The Smith & Jones, attorneys at law. Here's what we've been doing lately. We had an exciting case at the new apartment building representing a condo owner. We had a criminal case, and this was what the decision was. We set new law. Now your audience, your clientele know about you. They know what you're doing. Holiday cards is a very easy one. A friend of mine is a lawyer. When I go to see her around the holidays, I see that she writes her Christmas cards on December 23rd. Well, you're losing a whole month of December. Send the cards out early. If you're going to send them out so a firm is reminded that you're around. Another firm may want to use her for a referral. They may want to contact her. They may want to send a client to her.
And I just want to say, a lawyer might want to put a business card or two in with that card, or stick a little newsletter in with the card, or make that card into a calendar that someone can keep on their refrigerator or file cabinet, so it becomes a marketing bulletin board for that lawyer, more than just a card.
I'm going to let our audience in on a secret. You've given me many great ideas over the years, and you've said, why don't you do this, Bill? Why don't you do that? And I've taken up on many of them. I won't say all of them, but now you're smiling, but I have, and they are good ideas. It gets you out there, and it gets people doing something different, which expands the horizon and really helps all of us learn about ourselves, what we will enjoy.
Are there any other things you recommend that lawyers do? I know you give a lot of seminars, and you give speeches about different topics that are of interest to you, but you're updating the community on different legal developments and new issues they may need a lawyer for.
Yes, I like that. If you have an expertise that you like to talk about, I told you I was a former teacher, so naturally I like to get up in front of a room. Excuse me. If someone likes to do that, there are a lot of groups that put on continuing legal education seminars, a lot of bar association committees, and here on Long Island, we're between Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk. So if you have an expertise in real estate, you can contact the local bar associations and say, I'm an expert on this type of law, condominiums, trees, borderline disputes. If you'd like a discussion on this, here's a couple of topics that I could talk about. Many groups are looking for someone to come in. They're fascinated. Many community groups, the Elks, the Kiwanis clubs, they're looking for speakers, and they'd love to have a lawyer come talk about a current topic. Now, the topic, of course, is the pandemic. What about the pandemic would affect us legally? Are there lawsuits happening? Should employers be aware of things that could impinge on their business? How about small businesses? Are they in jeopardy? Et cetera, et cetera. This is a great opportunity to reach out. And also, again, we're a relatively small community here on Long Island. If once people start to get your name, you become the go-to person for your subject, criminal law or real estate.
And there's always going to be an intersection of news and areas of law. So if people are hearing in the news about sedition or rioting, that maybe have aspects of civil or First Amendment or criminal law. If there are going to be new tax plans that may impact on wills and estates or real estate or tax planning. So there's always, you can look at your newspaper, see how it relates to your practice, and try to give information to your clients, be they families or individuals or institutions, to inform them about changes in the law and how they in turn can use your services. Are most lawyers proactive or reactive, and should they change how their DNA?
They should change that DNA. I don't know how you do that, but hopefully by listening to this show. Most lawyers wait for someone to come in the door, and rather than have a plan, and I bet if you asked the next 10 lawyers on your show, just a common question like you say, hello, how you doing? what's your business plan? I don't know. Whoever comes in tomorrow, I'll judge the case and see if I can handle it. And if not, I'll send them to another attorney who does handle that type of law. That's not really a plan. The most successful people that I know, and I'm talking about, one is a doctor, one is a writer in Hollywood, another one is an athletic director for a major university. They all have plans, and they've had them for years, what they're going to be doing 6 months from now, 2 years from now. What is your plan? Are you handling a certain area of law? Is that what you want to do? Are you looking to go into something else? You want to keep your antennas out there. I think lawyers too often react to what comes in. Then they feel they have to handle, or they took on a criminal case. They're not really comfortable with it. I was a real estate lawyer. The two most opposite people in the world seem to be real estate lawyers and criminal attorneys. I knew nothing about criminal law, and the criminal attorneys, when I would have a criminal attorney on a real estate matter, it was obvious that they knew nothing about real estate law. So there's two people that could refer cases back and forth because they're in two totally different branches of law.
So, Bill, lawyers should constantly evaluate their mix, figuring out what they enjoy, where there's a need for legal services, where they can provide good, efficient legal services to the community.
Absolutely. And what do they like to do? Again, it's for their happiness. They're going to be practicing law longer than they think. And are they happy doing this? Or is it time to make a plan and maybe branch off? Would you like to get into investing, into brokerage, into a small company that services some of the things that lawyers need? Where do you see the future going?
So I would like to thank Bill Horan for being our guest on Law You Should Know. As you know, he is the host of Secrets of Success, and his show, you can hear it at 90.3 WHPC or over the internet at nccradio.org every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and also at nccradio.org. There are podcasts of many editions of Secrets of Success and also many different shows about law you should know. Bill, in the last minute we have, any final thoughts on how a lawyer can adopt a secret for success?
I would just urge people and not because of me, but because of the fine authors that I have on the show, go to nccradio.org, go to Secrets of Success, and pick a few podcasts. And if you don't like one, go to another one. There are a couple there about planning, about strategy, about business development. And one or two of those shows, they're 28 minutes each, can honestly change your practice and bring in a lot more income and a lot more happiness to lawyers, which is what I think most of us are looking for.
Okay. And again, Secrets of Success, one of the great shows on WHPC, and now available to anyone at any time at nccradio.org. Thank you for listening to Law You Should Know, and you can hear us again next week at 3 o'clock on 90.3 FM, and this show and many other shows as podcasts at nccradio.org.